Okay, in this next section we're going to have a look at inserting blocks using a window called the Design Center. So how do I access Design Center? Well, if I go to the View tab and over here on Palettes, there's a little icon here called Design Center. If I left click on that, it'll bring up Design Center. Also up here it's under Tools and Palettes and Design Center, but if you look closer you see Control and 2 will toggle it on and toggle it off, so instead of having to go to navigate to either of those, you can actually just hit Control 2 and up will come this Design Center. So if I hit Control 2 on the keyboard, off it goes, Control 2 again, and on comes the Design Center. Looks a bit of a jumble at the minute, we'll sort that out in a minute, but first of all, if I come up here, a few little things typical of all these little palettes. There's a little auto hide feature. If I do that, it minimizes it, then I roll over it, it pops out, which kind of takes it out of the way from your drawing. Also, if I right click on it, just make sure you've got allow docking ticked in that, so right click on this grey bar and make sure allow docking's ticked, and then you can anchor it, let's say to the left, and it's anchored to the left. And a lot of these tool palettes can be anchored like that, and they're very useful because, you know, for the few times you use them, they're there but they're not sort of taking up too much screen space on you, and you can roll over it and out it pops, which is a nice one, and then kind of disappears again when you don't need it. Okay, so we're going to have a look at this now. So what I'm going to do is just drag it back out by left clicking, hold down on the mouse and pull it back out into the space area, because I want to work on it just for a little while and show you a few things on it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to close up all of these windows. So if I click the little minus and all that and just get it closed right back to the C drive, so it's looking something like that. So if you do something like that first, just to bring you back so you can have a good idea where you're at in all this. So if I come along here then, where do I access? You can see we have our blocks. The goal of this is to access those blocks we created with attributes. So where did we store them? So if I click on the little plus in the local disk C, and then if I look at documents and settings, and in my case it's Sally D. Again, if you have a logon, you might see a logon that you're familiar with on your own machine at home, so you're clicking on that on your machine. So don't look for Sally D on your machine, it's probably not there. So click on the little plus, and you can see I've got desktop, but I think I saved it in my documents. Okay, and David saved drawings. Click on that, and it was office furniture. Long way to get to this, so not the ideal way to access your blocks. A bit slow and laboured, you can see that. But however, the point of this is to show you that you can actually access blocks that are buried in other drawings. So if I click eventually on the blocks logo here in the office furniture drawing, the one we created the blocks in, we can now see the chair, desk and table at long last. But don't be too scared by kind of going through that method. I suppose more than anything else, you might use this if somebody else gives you a drawing and there's blocks in it and you want to steal them and use them for yourself. You can come in and just access it that way. You could W block them out, but you could also come in and just drag and drop them. And when you're used to this, you'll see that it's really easy to bring them into your own drawing. But not only blocks, while you're here you might as well look at it as well. Dimension styles, so any dimension styles that might be within that drawing, again it's just a matter of dragging them into your drawing. Any layers that you might have in that drawing, drag them in, line types, etc., whatever. XREFs, tables and so on. We'll look at all those at some stage of this course on this level. So there's lots of stuff there that you can steal. So if somebody's got a drawing and got nice stuff that you think, I'll have that, it's very easy just to come along then, and there's the table, drag it and pop it into your drawing. Up comes the little edit attribute dialog box to tell me if I want to change the price of the table, if I want to change the type of the table. Remember the attributes we created, we only created two variables, the price and the type. I'll leave it like that for now. We're looking at Design Center for now, so we'll leave it at that. I'll just pin that open, save it closing again. Another way you might want to do it is if I right click on desk and insert block. This brings up the insert dialog box, which allows you to scale then or change the insertion point or specify a specific insertion point on the screen. You see the other one I dragged and dropped and just let it go. This one you can actually scale and rotate and do whatever you want to do on it. So I'm going to click OK, and again I'll just place it there. Now just minimize this. You'll notice that on this occasion I've got, if you look, enter type of desk, teak, that edit attribute dialog box didn't pop up. If I hit return again, it gets the next attribute. The reason for that being is the ATTDIA system variable attribute dialog box is not turned on. So 0 off, 1 is on. Do that in your drawing. Turn on the attribute dialog box. Why did it come on when we entered it first? You'll have to ask Autodesk for that, but when you drag and drop them in, it'll come on regardless of the system variable. But when you go to use the normal insert, which this is the same as, if I right click on the chair, insert block, click OK, and there's my chair. Now the edit attribute box dialog box comes up. Why? Because we've changed the system variable. Strange one, but that's the way it is. You can see we had three variable attributes in that, so I'll just click OK. I'll change them after. I can minimize that now. There you go. So we've got them in. So just to be aware of that, when you drag it in, the edit attribute box comes on and it looks like, well, it's turned on, but it's not actually. When you do a normal insert, you'll see that the edit attribute, if I go back, ATTDIA is the system variable for you to make sure that it's set to 1. Okay, so again, that's one you need to know because, well, why? I'll show you now in a little second as well. So that's our design center. Okay, so it's kind of, I hope you kind of see, it's not too difficult to kind of navigate through once you remember where everything is and you know your logons. It's really local to see documents and settings, Sally D, and so on. There is a favorites button up here somewhere. I don't use it very often, so forgive me. I think it's this one here. So if I kind of go to David's saved drawing and do a favorites, where does that go to? Okay, so I'll close down the design center and we'll have a look at placing these in. So I'll just turn off ortho. So we need a chair there, we need a table here, and we need a desk here. Okay, so we need another chair. So just to show you that, if I do a normal insert, so I for insert, or you can select the I, or I'm sure there's an insert option here as well, so I for insert. And when I click OK, we'll keep it in line with this one. Now, this dialog box up, I said you'd need to turn on the ATTDIA system variable. Here's the reason why, because with the ATTDIA system variable on, we've got this list, and let's say it was just the price of the chair I wanted to change. I could come in and select it from there. If we had lots of lots of attributes, and you can see there's a previous and a next, so you know the idea is that you create as much information in a block as you can possibly give it, and that you have the time to do, I suppose, as well. But the more information you have in the block, the more we'll see later on that you can actually extract that information. Okay, so it's really important that you put as much in and as much time in these blocks as possible, because in the long run it's going to pay you off. People don't always see that, but in the long run it pays to put all the information in. Obviously there's a limit to your time and on the job you can spend, but you have to balance it out. So if there was something on the next page I wanted to change, it wouldn't be so difficult. I go to the next page and change it. If I go back and turn off the ATT DIA system variable just temporarily, and let's say I insert another chair, we'll place it somewhere there. Now with this method of entering it in, I have to hit return to get to the price, so I have to go through them all to get to the price. If I had lists 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 10 attributes in here, I got to go through each one to get to the one I want to change, which can be a bit of a chore, especially when you've got lots of attributes associated with a block. Okay, so that's the reason why it's always best to turn that attribute on. Okay, so that's sorted. I'll just delete that, and we can actually just copy this down to here, and we can copy a chair then across to here, and I need to rotate it, or O for rotate, 180 degrees, and I'll move it, zoom in a wee bit, and I'll move that somewhere there. Excuse me. Okay, so we've got all our blocks in the drawing that we need. However, this one here, when I was entering it, I should have made it a swivel chair. Not the end of the world. Let's go and adjust the attributes now. How do we do that? How do you do anything in AutoCAD? Double left click on it. So instead of an adjustable chair, it should be a swivel chair. So if I double left click on it, make sure you've got the correct attribute highlighted, and change the word adjustable to swivel, and you can apply that. The reason I didn't go out of it is because we've also got to change, because it's a swivel chair, it's now slightly more expensive, so I need to pop in here and pop in a 9 there instead of a 6 and apply that, so we've got the price of that swivel chair. So we've got that adjusted now. Okay, now next thing we're going to look at is displaying the attributes that we haven't got, and the book kind of shows you just temporarily, it talks about the ATT DISP system variable. So if I type in ATT DISP, currently the attribute setting is that it's normal, so if you've got the attributes turned off or invisible, they're obviously not going to appear, and if you got them visible, they're going to appear, so that's what normal is. But if you want to show all attributes regardless of the state you've set them at, select on, and you can see all of the attributes. Now turn on. The little arrow up key on the keyboard gets ATT DISP back up, hit return, and go back to normal, and it turns them off. And we're going to need that system variable in the next little section when we're going to adjust a few little items. Okay.